Whew. Hey, eighth graders. It's Wednesday afternoon here, and filming pod before I have to go brave Pocatello to do shopping with my family. That sounds terrible. I don't know why I'm telling you all this, but let's get to pod, shall we? I want to tell you guys it was nice to be back this week, and I appreciate everybody being pretty darn good while I was gone. You may not have even noticed, which I good for you. That means the school's running smoothly, so that makes me happy. And I was back just in time for Christmas break, I guess. So we've been talking about our core values the last few weeks, our core behavioral values. And some of you guys, I know when I talk about these things, it just goes in one ear and out the other. But when you meet these expectations, school goes a lot smoother for you. When you don't, that's when we have problems. So we talked about working hard, taking responsibility, and being proactive in terms of your circle of control. And now M stands for making positive choices. Okay, often, even like several times a day, you have a choice to go this way and make a decision that may impact you and those around you in a positive way, uplift others, be kind, keep you on your track to success. Then sometimes you can have choices that go the other way. Okay, so we want to be making choices that help everybody, that are kind, that uplift everybody, and they help you on your path to success, but also those folks around you. I was thinking about what I needed to remind you about going into the break, and there really wasn't anything, but I just wanted to encourage you, however you celebrate this holiday season, whatever your family traditions or religious beliefs are, hopefully COVID doesn't disrupt all of those. Okay, we know it's not the smartest idea to gather in large groups right now, but honestly, it's been a really hard year, and you guys deserve the break and to have some of those favorite traditions of yours. Okay, whether it's I'm thinking of one of mine when I was growing up is we were allowed to open one Christmas present Christmas Eve, which I know other families do this. We didn't invent it. And I remember as a kid putting just an embarrassing amount of strategy into that. You would, or I would, think, do you want to do the best one Christmas Eve, or does that kind of spoil it? Do you want to save it? So eventually I settled on like the third best one, or not that I had that many presents, and that was kind of fun. And then Christmas morning, cinnamon rolls, fried rice, and hot chocolate was what we always have. And I've tried to make some of that at my house the last few years, and it hasn't always gone great. So my point is, however you celebrate, do so safely, but have some fun over the break because you really do deserve it. Okay. We're going to make this pretty quick because it's the day before Christmas break. So this is our last lesson on friends. Remember, we're talking about the 6 decisions that you can make during these teen years, can't talk, that will be very impactful for you. So last week, I'm sorry. We had a little part about just a way to be a good friend, make them and keep them. I didn't put all of it in here, but don't be so judgmental. That might keep you away from making new friends. Like, oh, I can't be friends with that kind of person. Why not? Remember to put yourself out there and be proactive and make a leap of faith in terms of if you're waiting for somebody to come to you, you may have to be the one to make the first step. Be inclusive. It's nice to have really good, close friends, but there may be other folks that want to join your group. Have friends that make you be your best, like eating your Wheaties. Be the kind of friend that uplifts your teammates. And always say with the friends you have, how's my relationship bank account? Okay, if you need to do something nice for one of those friends, please do so. All right. This last lesson is about peer pressure and understanding what it is. And like I said, I'm going to keep it pretty brief. And to be honest, peer pressure is a part of lots of social emotional curriculum. If you don't know that, that's the kind of pod lessons we have, citizenship, things like that. And I've never found a really good angle to try to teach you guys about peer pressure. You know what it is, but in your brain, I think you just think of those stereotypical, like, hey, you want to try cigarettes? Everyone's that's cool is doing this. And that happens, but for a lot of you guys, that stereotypical pressure into trying to do something like that may not happen exactly like that. So in his chapter or section on this concept, Sean Covey talks about a story when he was a kid, and this isn't a picture from this story, but it looks terrifying, where he was on a lake somewhere with some friends and cliff jumping, and they were about 30 feet, 50, and eventually they got up to 70 feet, and he didn't want to do it, but they forced him to, and he said it was terrifying, felt like he almost broke a leg, and he's just reminding us, this is a quote from Sean, what is it? Here's a simple definition of peer pressure. Peer pressure makes you do stupid things you wouldn't normally do when you're alone or thinking more clearly. In some peer pressure situations, it feels as if you leave your brain at the door. True. He talks about how there is such a thing as good peer pressure or positive peer pressure and negative. But in this sense, something that in the, and we'll get to that right now. So why are we all kind of susceptible to peer pressure? How come it can affect us, right? Why can't we just all make our own choices? And this is not unique to kids. We're all impacted by the people around us. If you've ever heard of the concept of the mob mentality, it's like when a group of people is really angry and you're part of that emotions can be kind of infectious and they can spread to you. Okay, we're social beings for sure. And this pyramid that I've shown you in different contexts before, by Maslow, a famous psychologist, talks about we all need these base things, and if you get those, you need all of these as human beings. Okay, so we need our biological needs, okay, our safety needs, but friendship, a sense of belonging, a sense of being in a group is right there. Okay, and it's actually before you start feeling confident in yourself. You need more of this belonging. So people that are younger, you're not so strong in your own self-esteem. Sometimes you're still developing and getting those needs met. So sometimes we, as young people, and I was the same way, are especially vulnerable to the dangers of peer pressure. And that's just humanity and the way our brains function. So whether you say, oh, I always do what I want to do, good for you. But all of us are at least in some danger of being impacted by our friends. Okay. Sean uses a little shield analogy for the 3 things you could do to protect yourself. When peer pressure comes up, you have a shield to kind of keep you safe and keep you on the right track and where you're trying to go. Preparation, strong support system, and my head is in the way. So I don't remember what the third one was, but let's talk preparation, number 1. He talks about habit 2 and the 7 habits begin with the end in mind. And so somebody who has a true sense of who they are and where they want to be in life, what kind of person they want to be, where they want to go, what their future success looks like, have a little bit better of a chance of saying, you know what, that choice could lead me on a much different path over here. Hey, I don't know that I want to do that. Hey, I want to be in college. I want to do this. I want to be someone who makes my family proud. And if you make a choice that goes away from that. So sometimes the people who have clarity about themselves can be less susceptible to peer pressure. A flip side of that preparation is making decisions beforehand. And some people think, how can you do that? And you got to live in the moment. True to some extent. But if you're someone who says, I don't want to do this, okay, whether it deals with addictive stuff like drugs and alcohol, or you don't want to watch certain types of movies, or you never want to be involved in swearing. Everyone has their own sense of who they want to be, hopefully, or developing it. So if you say, if I'm ever offered whatever, I'm going to say no, I'm going to walk away. When you can make those decisions beforehand, it makes it a lot easier. Okay, because it's almost like instead of the instinct and the pressure, and telling people that, your friends say, hey, I'm never going to do this. Okay, and so I think always making that decision beforehand can make the pressure of the moment ease a little bit. All right. Second way we can avoid peer pressure is have a good, strong support system. This is, I don't know what kind of support system this is, but you could surround yourself with friends and family members that help you be at your best. Again, if you have clarity about what you want as a purpose in life and who you want to be, you can surround yourself with good, solid friends who are a part of that and want to help you. Okay. If you limit their opportunity to have negative peer pressure, you have the kind of friends who, if you say, I'm not doing that, that's not my thing, they would respect that. You should be a lot better off, especially if they sometimes share some of your values and goals and where you want to go. And speaking of that, I would encourage you to join some type of group that would make you feel part of something that's bigger than you. And I've been able to be in bands before, on sports teams many times in my life. It's been a while. But I remember that sense when I was in high school, especially in football. We had a good group of a traditional football team, and in my town, it was a big deal to be on that football team. And so not everybody was angels, but when it was football season or close to it, we put a little healthy peer pressure. Hey, you're not going to get in trouble. Your grades are going to be fine. Hey, we're focused on the end in mind, our ultimate goal. And I've seen that in bands. Okay, Mr. Hanchy's group and in choir with Mr. Louder, they have this end in mind of putting on a really good show, like folks going to do later this week, Thursday night, with our bands. And they're going to put on a great show. And so you say, hey, I'm not going to let peer pressure negative get in the way of that because we have a common goal in mind. It could be an acting group, want to put on a great performance, whatever. But if you've never been a part of anything like that, a group, whatever your interests are, the numbers they just don't lie. Okay, that students that are involved with something like that tend to have a much higher success rate. And they tend to have a much more enjoyable school experience because certainly what happens in the classroom is important, most important, but these can be really fulfilling things that you're going to do in the band room, in the gym, on the field, and they'll help you avoid any possible negative peer pressure. So even with those two things in place, you've prepared, you've tried to decide beforehand, you've made hopefully some good friends, but in the end, you need some courage in the moment. Sean had a story that wasn't about him, but from a young lady, a student he had talked to, that said that she walked home one day and saw a clear bowling experience. And I'm sure she was older than these kids, but and there was like 10 kids circled around one and picking on him, saying things to it. And she just stood up to him. It was a young lady, said, "This is enough. You guys are being ridiculous." And they grumbled a little bit, but eventually walked off. And she kind of surprised herself that she had that courage, but she was also proud of herself, and rightfully so. I think that's pretty cool. So no matter how much you've prepared, I wonder what you're going to do. And it doesn't happen all the time. When you're confronted with moments that you know this is the wrong choice, something bad is happening here, are you going to make the brave choice? Because that's what it is. It really is. The going along with the crowd choice is easy, but the person who says, and I have no problem with just walking away. I mean, in the bowling situation, you may want to help that person, but all of a sudden booze come out of the party or someone's smoking at a place you are. You don't have to always make some grand statement. That's fine if you want to. You can just get yourself out of the situation. So when you are every now and again presented with those opportunities and you know this is something you really don't want to be a part of, hopefully you have some courage in the moment. Okay. Now we're wrapping up our decision 2. We'll start with decision 3 after Christmas. And I was thinking back and looking at all the lessons we'd had for some advice that we gave you for friendship. And I saw on one of the surveys that one of the kids who, not everyone always likes pod, even though they seem to like the videos, all right, which I appreciate you guys watching. But they said, oh, we always talk about the same stuff. And sometimes that's true, especially this year where this is kind of almost a sequel to the 7 Habits book. So it's written in the same way. But I was thinking, like, what's something that they could really short and remember about friendship? So I just say choose wisely. We've talked about that a lot. And if we repeat ourselves, and by we, I mean me and Pod, and teachers may back me up on some of these things. Your group of friends who you hang out with can have a huge impact on your 3 years here at school and certainly in the high school. So choose wisely. That kind of like that pack of lions that can help you be stronger. Be you. Okay? Who cares if there's rules about you have to do this to be our friend? You're heading into clique territory. Part of his chapter, and I sure hope we don't really have this in American Falls, even though it does happen. The most extreme version of a clique is a gang, okay, which can certainly happen. So whatever group you're in, don't let it take over yourself, okay? It's inevitable that your friends impact you, but if you change the way you dress, talk, to be more like them, it's not healthy, okay? And then once you have a group, think about yourself and be a friend that you're worth having, that you make other people's life a little bit better. You make them laugh, but you're there to support them. Then you'll keep friends if you do that. All right. Quote to end on is from this bearded gentleman over here. No, not Santa Claus, but Dumbledore. And I like it. It's another peer pressure quote. It takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to your enemies, but a great deal more to stand up to your friends. Okay. Saying people you've known for years, when they start putting pressure on you, one of the most brave things you can do is saying, I'm still your friend. Okay, I don't have to be done with you, but this is where I'm drawing a line. Okay, so thanks, Dumbledore, for that sage advice, Mr. Wizard Man. So thanks for listening today, guys. If I don't see you tomorrow in school, hopefully I do, but have a Merry Christmas and holiday season, and hope to talk to you soon. See you.